To start the story of Okonkwo, I want you to take to an Igbo village community of eastern Nigeria, and the time is 1958. Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel, and I am Mehreen. Things Fall Apart is a short and extraordinary close-knit novel which in fictional terms creates the way of life of an Igbo village community when white missionaries and officials were first penetrating eastern Nigeria. Okonkwo, the protagonist of the novel, is tall and huge. His bushy eyebrows and wide nose gave him a very severe look. He is described as active, strong, and physically energetic man. He is a strong man who had bore hardships of time and tide, the one who started from zero. He in fact didn't get anything from his father Yunoka, as his father was very lazy, idle, a borrower, and the one who had no self-respect. Yet he was a very gentle and humble man. Okonkwo could never forget the disgrace and humiliation his father always received from his clansmen. Okonkwo never wanted to be like his father. Despite of his father's ill reputation, Okonkwo earned admiration and applause by winning the titles for his clan and village. Okonkwo was such a man who was stern and harsh even in his dealings with his own family, since to show affection was a sign of weakness. He loves action and scorns inactivity. Throughout his life, he had a fear of being regarded as a weak man and a failure in society, as his father Yunoka was. Okonkwo is the man who is nicknamed Roaring Flame, whose temper flares up as suddenly as a tropical storm. The man who is so violent that he threatens his remaining 5 sons that if they ever turn against him, when he will be dead, he will visit them and break their necks. His hasty temper flares up very suddenly. He was a wealthy farmer and had 2 barns full of yams and had just married his 3rd wife. To crown it all, he had taken 2 titles and had shown incredible powers in 2 intertribal wars. And so, although Okonkwo was still young, he was already one of the greatest men of his time. His hasty temper flares up and he beats his youngest wife during the week of peace. All his actions are motivated by fear. This fear even led him to kill Ikemefuna. He loved him very much and he treated him just like his sons. But the fear to be known as weak-willed, he himself took part in the rite of his killing. He had no patience with unsuccessful or inactive men. He was a man of action, a man of war. Okonkwo had 3 wives and many kids, as this was a custom of clan to have more wives. But throughout the novel, we are made much familiar with only one son, Norway. Okonkwo's downfall starts when, in a traditional festival, he mistakenly kills a fellow clansman who belonged to a neighboring village. As a punishment, he was exiled for 8 years. And these 8 years were well enough to fall the things apart. When he comes back to his motherland, things had been changed drastically. British missionaries came there on their iron horses and conquered his clansmen. Most of the crushed, demolished, and trodden class of his clan had been turned Christians. Even his own son had adopted Christianity. It was a really tragic moment for Okonkwo because he wanted to see his son powerful and authoritative like himself. During the story, we are told that death and killing of Ikemefuna was a major cause of rift between father and son. And ultimately, this rift was healed by the Christian sermons. Norway always found some serenity and some satisfaction in Christianity. That is why he joined Christian school and became a Christian. Now, Okonkwo wanted his clansmen to respond furiously against these British white missionaries. But the things had been changed. Okonkwo observes that now nobody from his clans want to fight with the British missionaries. They do not want to stand against them. Okonkwo is finally convinced that his clansmen have unaccountably become soft like women. It was a rejected moment for him because he never expected his clansmen to be coward. That is why he himself decides to take action against these missionaries, and in the fits of anger he burns the church. With the burning of the church, he becomes briefly almost happy again. But when, after the humiliation, he is set free, he swears vengeance upon these white men. As a punishment for burning the Christian church, he was punished as to be captivated. He swears to God that if Umofia decided on war, all would be well. But if they choose to be cowards, he would go out and avenge himself. He realizes that the people of Umofia are frightened, not angry. The world Okonkwo knew has gone. The world that is coming has no place for one of his uncompromising nature. He cannot single-handedly take on the new powers that have destroyed the old. So he opts to join his ancestors, the men of the old order, the warriors he reveres. He chooses to commit suicide, the most shameful way to die, abominated by gods and men alike. The things that he has known have fallen apart and have dragged him down with them. The tragedy of Okonkwo is one expression of the violence created by colonial powers. Early on, we are told, perhaps down in his heart, Okonkwo was not a cruel man. His harshness towards his eldest son Norway arises out of a hungry impatience to see Norway become a strong man like himself, and out of fear that he, even the most legitimately boyish laziness, exhibits symptoms of temperament inherited from the grandfather. His hasty temper flares up, and he becomes bestial in his dealings. As Okonkwo came back to his village, he failed to reconcile with the British. He secretly nurses a desire to drive them out of his land. The things that have happened to the people of Umofia were unbearable for him, so ultimately he prefers to go for a shameful death. He was a nonconformist and unable to become a part of the drastic change taken place in his society. In his absence, his faults are the faults of his virtues, a loyal and unquestioning obedience to the traditional Igbo way of life. Thanks for being with me. I hope you have learned a lot in this video.